Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, all glory, all honors unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, the rest of the hopeful elect out there. This is your brother, the priest, Design One from GMS Atlanta. Back with another edifying video. And this will be another update to the coming Motb.
I found this on the web.
And this digital biometric digital system that Esau is creating, and it's a worldwide system. Okay, everything around the world is shifting to not just digital but biometrics. Okay, and everything will be in a system that will a centralized system, governmental system, where all the different agencies will be linked together. You know, a lot of records, you know, hospitals and certain even other departments, certain records are digital, certain records are still paperwork, but they're going to interact in the future. So this here is coming out of the UK, and it says bipartisan support grows for mandatory UK digital ID. It's from August 11th. And a lot of countries are moving towards mandatory digital IDs, mandatory biometrics. In Africa, in the East Asian islands and the Pacific. So now the UK is taking the same approach. It says the UK's digital identity project may be moving towards bipartisan support. The Conservative Party is carefully considering the introduction of compulsory digital IDs, according to Shadow Home Secretary and Tory MP Chris Phillip. It says, I think any government of this country has to be prepared to do whatever it takes to protect our borders from illegal migration, Phillip told the BBC in an interview last week. I think it is certainly something we should be considering very carefully. And that's the same thing that we're dealing with here in the U.S. Trump pushing the illegal migrants, the so-called Hispanics, the Israelites, the northern kingdom of the 10 tribes of the nation of Israel. The true Israelites are being pushed out of America by ICE mainly, and they're being deported, you know, because they're here so-called illegally. And over there in the UK, they've been dealing with this a lot for many years now. It's just that now the US is making a point to make this an issue. But over the UK, they've also had the same thing. They're just not sending ICE, you know, their equivalent over there after these different so-called illegal immigrants over there. So their solution here is to set up a mandatory digital ID system. Let me look up the word compulsory. Let me just look this up. Compulsory, required by law or a rule. Obligatory. So it's an obligation, and it's going to be a law, and required, meaning mandatory for, of course, the citizens, but also the those that want to come into this country, into the UK. They're going to also have to be a part of that digital ID system. Okay? It says here, there is a very strong case for proving identity for claiming benefits using the National Health Service and using other services paid by taxpayers, he continues. Compulsory universal ID cards, however, also bring up questions around civil liberties, personal freedom, and excessive intrusion by the state, he adds. And see, this is the thing. Where there's questions and where there is pushback. That's why the elites are going to need to have a crisis occur in order to get people on board with digital ID and eventually the microchip implant. Right now, let's replace where it says here ID cards with implants. So it says compulsory universal biometric NFC implants. However, also bring up questions around civil liberties and so forth. Because when you read the scriptures, right? Let's go to Revelation 13. Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16, it says, And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. When you call somebody to do something, you're pretty much requiring them and mandating them to do it. So that's what they want to push over in the UK with the digital IDs. Okay? Now let me look up this word in the Greek, because this is how you understand. There's a reason why these tools are available on the internet when it comes to studying the Bible. If you hear an Israelite say that we don't need to go into the Hebrew and the Greek, then they're not right. If you hear an Israelite calling the name of God and Jesus Christ is saying that the true names in the Hebrew, the true names of the Lord don't matter, they're sellouts. They sold out to not teach the Israelites the truth. So let's go into the Greek and get a better understanding of the Bible and the word causeth, which is G or Greek 4160. Greek word 4160. Poieo, which means to make somebody do something, pretty much. Okay? Right, here we go. This is the point. Number 9. To make one do something. Cause one to. So they're going to make the different people, no matter your status, no matter your social status, financial status, they're going to require you, make it mandatory, compulsory to get the mark, which is the implant, the Motb, which is the micro C-hip implant, Rfid, Nfc over there in Europe, near field communication. They're going to cause the different citizens to get it in their right hand or left hand or in their foreheads, like the brain implant. And there's going to be a requirement in order to do what? And that no man might buy or sell, right? Save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, which is tied into also getting government benefits, government services, and so forth, healthcare. So when there's like a pestilence, another breakout of an illness out in the world, and if you're not tied to the digital ID system, then they can refuse you health care because you're not legal. Okay? And then eventually, if you don't have the chip, the implant, you're not legal. So you're not going to be able to give you any help. That's why it's going to have it to where not only is it going to be mandatory, but it's going to compel the people to get the chip because of I need to continue to take care of my parents, my grandparents. I have to continue to get my medicine. I got to take care of my kids, feed my kids, get these government benefits, EBT, and so forth. So that's why this is very important when we're looking at articles and things like this of what they're doing with this digital system. Okay. And that's the point. So let's go to the next one here. So here it says, and I've spoken on this before, whole body biometric recognition coming to a CCTV camera near you. Breyer's Farsight measures gait, body shape, face for biometric profile at a distance. Let's read this. It says, what is innovation if not a game of one-upmanship? Having established widespread use cases for fingerprint biometrics and facial matching and burgeoning markets in iris and palm vein recognition, right, scanning the hand, which is another step towards the chip implant, the mark of the beast, Motb, right, which is all a part of biometrics. The horizon is now the total package, whole body biometric recognition. The Economist has picked up on the story of the Michigan State University researchers, which is over here in the U.S., who since 2021 have been developing technology for long-range biometric identification under its biometric recognition and identification at altitude and range program. It says called Farsight. The tech combines biometric algorithms called large vision models, or LVMs, that in the course of about 3 seconds measure gait, generate a 3D body model, and run the subject's face through a turbulence model that seeks to undo the refractive effects of the choppy air on the light that comes into the camera. The gait feature is based on Meta's, I'm not so sure that's the same Meta that is tied to Facebook. It says Dino V2 LVM. Meanwhile, the third feature points to the tool's intended use on airborne drones. The Economist says this opens up the potential to extend the spying powers of artificial intelligence, AI, into the sky. So this is why we are warning about this digital system that's coming. This is why the true prophets of Yahweh Shem Shai, Great Millstone, are warning you about the chip, warning you about digital ID. We're warning the people about biometrics and this digital prison system that they're creating, because you won't be able to get away with anything. Along with the chip, they're also going to constantly have AI and drones. And imagine where you're walking down the street and you are minding your business, and based upon your walk, based upon the clothes you wear, they scan your face. Here it is, you might like I said, minding your business, and you get stopped by a drone, and then police forces roll up. They have AI robots, and they're trying to identify who you are. So imagine them doing that amongst our people, amongst so-called blacks, Hispanics, right? The Israelites, the tribes. Remember in New York, they got this thing about stop and frisk. Imagine them having, like I said, AI, drones, robots harassing you, patrolling the streets. And you can't get away with nothing because you'll be readily identified. They know how you walk, how you look, what you're wearing, all of that. This is what Esau is creating. Okay? It says the project is funded by the Intelligence Advanced Research Projects Activity, IARPA, which I'm pretty sure falls up under DARPA some way. Part of the American government responsible for marshaling fanciful spy gadget ideas into real-world use. Other current IARPA projects, it notes, include an effort to build a device that can modulate a voice in real time in order to avoid detection by speech recognition tools, as well as an initiative to make snooping devices small and pliable enough to be woven directly into clothing. Well, they're going to push the chip to where it'll be embedded and woven into your skin, pretty much. So, listen, we've been telling you here at GMS what the truth is, okay? Because we're able to see farther than these other false prophets, because they don't have the vision. They can't see what this world is coming to, because they're not paying attention. They rather put up videos of Family Day and deal with drama and controversial topics outside of the scriptures. Not that the scriptures aren't controversial to some Israelites, but they deal with controversial topics based on worldly drama, like dealing with that guy Zakari and they speak on Diddy. We don't speak on Diddy like that unless it's relevant. We're not podcast Israelites. We're not gossip content creator Israelites. GMS, we are here to represent Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in the earth as the true prophets, telling you what's going to happen. And this is what they're doing. That's why we're going to need Yahweh Shai to save us. Okay? Look at this. It says, why retail needs biometrics. The cameras aren't working. Shop thefts in the UK have reached over 50,000 per day. So you got this thing happening in the US. You got this thing happening in America. Over there in the UK. England and so forth. According to The Economist, shoplifting has octupled in a decade. Octupled. And now amounts to around 20 million thefts annually. Is this because we have more shops or fewer scruples? Perhaps, but it's not confined to shopping. Fare evasion on London's tube and bus network has reportedly doubled since 2019, and street crime like phone grabs has made us the snatcher's capital. That may be a tick for the less scruples theory, but while others try to diagnose the underlying causes, let's stick with the numbers. So pretty much they're saying in the UK they have problems with people stealing. Okay? So let's get to the point here. It says some retailers have realized that their cameras aren't working and have instead turned to biometrics. Like I've been saying, this is the future. This is the New World Order agenda. Everything will be monitored. You, who you are, where you're going, where you're coming from, where you've been, everything is going to be monitored. They're going to know who you are. They're going to know how much money to give you, where you stay. They're going to, if you brothers, we were talking in the camp, amongst brothers in the camp last night. You got social credit scores and things coming. Credit and so forth. All of that is dealing with monitoring you, how you buy and sell. But the catalyst, the key to lock human beings into this coming digital system, this ID system, it's going to be the chip. It says, with stores reporting reductions of up to 70%, not just at the start, but as a sustained outcome, live facial recognition technology is helping retailers take back control of their businesses.
Here's an answer from Market Us.
Excuse me. Okay, so, and there's also been the reports out there in California about petty theft and stealing is not really being prosecuted out there, or they're not really getting, capturing thieves for stealing after a certain dollar amount. And that's happening a lot. You're hearing about certain Walmarts closing down in different cities and states around the country based on what they're saying is thievery, so they're losing money. So what is going to be the solution to cut all that out? Set up biometrics. Okay? And a lot of this stuff has already been happening and being put in place overseas, but now it's happening, is being pushed in the U.S., okay? The solution is being put in place over there in places like Europe and the UK with biometrics. And the same thing is going to be done over here. Same thing. Okay? So that's mainly the point. So they're setting up this to where they want to use biometrics and shops. So stealing, you won't be able to. Okay. This here, it says Google applies age verification algorithm to Google search. Users report pop-up for search after being flagged for age checks on YouTube. And I spoke about this before, about how this is eventually going to lead to the famine of the word, and it's true. Because they're going to, require IDs and certain verification for you to watch certain content, and even be able to put up videos. It says a controversial algorithmic age assurance system that Google has launched on YouTube is reportedly also being incorporated, into the company's tentpole search engine. So imagine not being able to look up certain topics and information about the truth, certain articles and certain things, because Google won't allow you, because they're saying that you need to verify either your age or you're too young. So you won't be able to even do videos and certain things because you're blocked. So even the information is being targeted now. And it's been targeted, but it's now being more scrutinized. The age check tool uses machine learning algorithms to guess at a user's age. See how it says guess, but they're supposed to be using AI. AI is supposed to be so smart, supposed to be the future, but they're still using guessing. That's a bad word to use when you're talking about a topic like this. So it says to guess at a user's age based on a variety of signals, such as search and viewing history, meaning it falls into the category of age estimation or age inference technology. Yeah, we're just going to infer that you're 10 years old, so you can't watch certain videos. And the algorithm could be off. So here it is. We've been watching apostles and elders and different videos and putting up edification, and then we get notification that we're younger than what we are. You're 40 years old, but then they flag you as being 15. That's how you know that this man's a devil. The system has caused uproar among YouTube users, some 116,000 of whom have signed a petition urging Google to turn it off. So now it's moving to Google search. Instead, it appears to be expanding the tool's application to Google search. And there's other search engines out there. You don't have to use Google necessarily. But this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Where they started one company and one site and platform, it's going to go through the rest of them. It says Tech Issues Today reports that users have now observed a similar age verification pop up directly within Google search, which Google owns YouTube, by the way. It says, for the report, which features screenshots of the pop-up, the user who shared the screenshot noted that they initially encountered the age verification prompt on YouTube while watching Tech Linked, then discovered it had also appeared during the Google search sessions. The suggestion is made that once a user is prompted for age assurance on YouTube, they may be flagged for it across their Google account. So you won't even have access to Google, as usual, because your account's flagged. And hey, listen, if you're putting out something that the elites and these people don't want you to say, Esau don't want you to say, then they could, block you or take your account down, whatever. Which is something that, we're not unaccustomed to here at GMS after all these years, but this is making it a lot more strict, And it started, August 15th? I believe the whole YouTube verification rolled out the 13th last week. So It's just a matter of time before we're going to be off of pushing this truth on the internet. You know. So let me get a scripture on that. Let's go to because when you're speaking truth, what happens is you get ostracized. You know, they're going to get you for teaching truth. Anyway, Isaiah 29:21, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate. This YouTube verification thing is a snare. This Google verification thing and, you know, flagging the account, that's a snare for those of us that are pushing the truth. We're just speaking words. We're just coming out of what the Bible says. But that's an offense to the system. It says, and to turn aside the just for a thing of naught. So they turn, and who's the just? The just is the Israelites, or the elect, or the Israelites. So this is, you know, this is what we're seeing now. Okay? Let's go to this last one here. It says, biometric borders in business make strange bedfellows. August 16th. Biometrics are the foundation for tools to enforce borders, both physical and digital, but controversy comes with immigration and age checks, and that's what I just went into. Top stories this week on biometric update show the potential of biometrics to improve identity verification for proof of citizenship, which that's going to lead to the Motb, travel authorization, and airport security, right? The digital surveillance. The digital surveillance system, but also the controversy that could lead to backlash again. And as they start to roll out certain things, people are going to protest. You're going to see a lot more protests, a lot more online petitions and backlash from this system clamping down on the people. But that's that Hegelian dialectic. As above, so below. Pressure from above, pressure from below. That's how the elites are setting up their new world order agenda, is by setting up these checks, you know, setting up these events to check the people, and then the people react, and then they bring in a solution to bring in order when things get out of hand. It says others illustrate a similar process playing out online as age-assurant rules and criticism of them spread. So that's the point. They want to set up biometrics at the border. It says the TSA is considering options for contracting turnkey biometrics and digital ID screening to private sector partners under a program that supplies screening personnel to small and medium-sized airports. And they already have biometrics set up in these airports. I know they do here in Atlanta, and at the border they do too. But they're adding to it. The Screening Partnership Program, RFI, aligns with the Touchless ID pilot, Touchless ID, which eventually will lead to the chip implant, and the overall vision of using biometrics and automated systems to process passengers more quickly with less staff. Because eventually you're going to need not just a passport. The passport is going to be in your chip. And then that's how you're going to be able to fly domestically and internationally. So we're seeing the implications of this digital ID system being set up. We're seeing the Motb and how it's going to come into play, and what technology is a step toward it. But with that, I'm going to close out here. All praises goes to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, by Shem Kakwadash. Shalom.